All right, I'm going to start this video by saying, if you can get Case Iron Guard from your local dealership, that is the paint that you need to buy. No doubt. That's the best. Or if you have a paint store that would mix you like Valspar or, might not say that right, a DuPont paint, some kind of name brand paint that's equivalent to Case Iron Guard, that's what you should use if you can afford to use it. But this is my situation. Our local Napa, I don't believe, last time I talked to them about mixing me some paint, they no longer mix paint. They just sell stuff in the can that's already come pre-mixed. All right. So the next thing is, I do not believe that we have a paint store local anymore that will mix paint. I don't think. They sell basically house paint. They don't mix like equipment or car and truck paint anymore. I don't think. I'm not 100% on that. But anyway, I do not order paint online. And the reason I'm going to explain that real quick, why I do not order paint online. Yes, you can buy a case of Iron Guard, have it shipped to your house. There's two reasons I don't buy paint online, okay? You don't know how old that paint is. Paint cannot stand the cold. What'll happen is, with paint, this is oil-based. Your paint will seep down, will settle to the bottom of the can, and all your oil will be up top. And what'll happen is that paint will get hard in the bottom and get lumpy, and it won't mix up. It's no good. You throw it away, unless someone's got this genius hack that I don't know about, or getting that paint back soft again where it's mixed. That's one problem. Second problem, if this paint's been mixed before, what I mean by mixed, mean the oil being mixed with the actual paint, been mixed together, what'll happen is, while it's sitting in the can on the shelf, the top layer will skim over. Well, that's a problem when you're trying to spray it through a gun, because them skims going to be nice and lumpy. It's going to clog up your spray gun. Then you got a mess. You got to pour the paint out the spray gun. They got little filters, but it don't take but a little grit to mess the spray up on the gun. It's the main two reasons I'm not going to order no paint online. Okay. The only time this is the sorry spraying paint. I'm going to say this right now. This is the sorry spraying paint that you can buy. If you're painting with a brush, it's not that bad. It goes on pretty decently. The problem with spraying this paint is it's so thick. You got, all right, thinning it. Let me give you a comparison on how thick it is compared to Rust-Oleum. All right. The thinning ratio to Magic paint is 16 ounces to a gallon. That's their ratio on the can. 16 ounces to a gallon. I break that down. I mix my paint in here. That tells you how many ounces on there. I mix how much I think of the even number there, and then I break it down from the gallon to figure how many ounces of thinner I need. I say to 8 ounces of paint. 8 ounces of paint I mixed with the white, I think, came out to like 3 ounces of thinner, and it still does not spray right. This is your results. It wants to splatter like this. This is your results of it. It wants to splatter bad. That's some overspray to come on this HEPA spring. That's how the paint wants to come out the gun with the Magic paint. And I already had it so thin, it wanted to run. It was so thin already. It was already too thin. But it's still, with it being that thin, because that's a crazy ratio. The reason I'm going to explain why I say that's a crazy ratio is because with Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to tell you something else. When you mix that much thinner with the paint, you're cutting the paint down a lot compared to Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum, you only mix it at a 5%. So how I mix that is, I try to do it on an even number. 20 ounces. 20 times 5% is 1 ounce. All right, and I measure 1 ounce with just one of these little ladles at the house, like you mix your sugar with. You're going to make a pie or a cake or something. That's 1 tablespoon, which is a half an ounce. I'll put 2 of these little spoonfuls of thinner. And I don't use no special thinner either. This is a Track Supply Clean Strip thinner, paint thinner. Works real good. This is the 5th tractor I want to say I'm painted. And probably 4th or 5th, 6th vehicle. All right. When you send that 1 ounce, that's how I do it. I mix, but that was with the primer. And then with the black, I cut it down about 8 ounces, which I cut it down to about 8 ounces or so, or 10 ounces of paint. And then you only put a half an ounce. I'm gonna say 10 ounces on the black, because I think is what I mixed. I kind of split the difference between 8 and 12. I think that's why I mixed on the black. And it comes out, you put a half an ounce of thinner. That's a whole lot less than, I think that it came out to about 3 ounces of thinner on 8 ounces of paint for the Magic, and it still wanted to splatter. All right, that's the results. This is what you get your spray results when you spraying it. I mean, after you, this is only 1 coat. You keep spraying it and coating it good, it eventually come out pretty decent. I mean, that's pretty decent. I'm going to put one more coat on that. There's a little thin in a few spots, like up here. Let me get the light on it. Like, see a little thin up top there. I'm going to hit it one more time. There's a few little spots on here. And I already had this so thin, it wanted to run. It had to run there. And it's still too thick, so thick, it was still splattering. It won't spraying even. All right, I'm going to show you some parts that I painted with the black Rust-Oleum. That looks pretty good. I'm going to roll all this stuff over real quick and paint some of the other side of it. And you look at that. That's nice and flat and smooth. That's fertilizer hopper top. But I'm going to hit all this stuff again. This is just a quick brush up last night. I mean, that's nice and smooth, no splatters. The paint is too thick. The main thing, if you're painting with a brush, it's not that bad. It goes on pretty decently with a brush. But trying to spray it, it's a nightmare. And that's just 1 coat with the Rust-Oleum. Just 1 coat. I got to hit it again, but that's 1 coat of Rust-Oleum. Main part, durability. Rust-Oleum is great for durability. Magic is pretty great. I cut a separate video on that one day on the Super. I think I painted the entire Super A with the Magic brand. But the red is the same way. It wants to splatter bad because it's so thick out of the can. It's too thick to be sprayed, really, because you got to cut it down a crazy amount to be able to spray it, and then it wants to run. And I mean, it might be some of that problem. May be my cheap gun I'm using. I mean, but I don't have that problem with Rust-Oleum paint, And you can just compare the 2 ratios, and it tells you right off the bat that paint is just too thick to be sprayed. Like I said, if you gonna paint it on with a brush, some of this stuff I'm gonna paint with a brush. Like my fertilizer attachment, I'm gonna brush that. Well, I'm gonna brush it with the black, not the Magic IH cream color. This will be brushed. I brushed my fertilizer hopper because I thought it needed to be on nice and thick to keep the fertilizer from eating through it. But I'm gonna brush this piece. And I'm probably gonna brush that piece. That's the other part of the fertilizer drive. I got another square fertilizer hopper there. I'm gonna brush that whole thing. But brushing that Magic paint is good. It's good. It comes out good with a brush. But it's entirely too thick to be trying to spray it because you got to cut it way down, and you're taking away the durability of the paint and everything else from cutting it down that much. You need to cut that paint with thinner the least amount that you can. The very least amount to get it go through the gun. Doing 5% Rust-Oleum, like I said, it's easy to calculate. Whatever ounces of paint that you put, do times 5%, and whatever, like 20 times 5%, I know for a fact is 1 ounce. And I just use one of the wife's little kitchen measuring tool to measure 1 ounce. The hardener is 16 ounces to 8 ounces to a gallon. So that's about 1 ounce per every 16 ounces. So, I try to mix the 16 ounce to the 16 ounce mark to come out perfectly even on my 1 ounce of hardener. I fill this up twice. That's my opinion on the paint. Everything is going to be rust-oleum paint except for the Magic. And like I said, if I could get Case Iron Guard local off the shelf, I would. Paint's a gray area on returns like electrical part. Some people will, some people won't. And if you order it, I know Tractor Supply will take back return paint if it's no good. I do know that. I don't even need a receipt because I have an inside preferred members plus deal, and it's all recorded in their computer. All they put my phone number in. I don't even need the receipt when I go back. I do know they return paint. Is that my problem with the Case Iron Guard? Case Iron Guard ain't much more than the rust-oleum. It's more, but it's not that much more. And it's well worth the money. But like I said, my problem is no dealerships have it around here. They either got one or the other. And I'm not ordering no paint because it's a gray area. People don't want to return it. And then you got all your stuff tore apart and you're ready to rock and roll with your paint. That's going to post your whole project back anywhere from a week to 3 weeks, even if they'll return it and send you another one. I say it's like electrical parts. A lot of stores will not accept any sort of returns on paint because they don't know it was their fault or your fault or why the paint's no good. Usually, if you got the receipt, I think if you got the receipt, you know they know you purchased it fairly recently, they'll take it back. But say if you order your paint 2 months ahead of time, and you got it sitting around waiting on you to get the rest of your stuff in your project, and then you take the cap off of it, and it's hard, no good. They're more than likely not going to return it. But anyway, so I don't order no paint online because of that. And I like the rust-oleum. It sprays great. I wish I can get the rust-oleum off the shelf in that IH white, that cream color white. But anyway, I share my experience with the paint, my opinions on the paint, why I use what I use and why I don't use the other. Anyway, thanks for watching.